Leonard Taylor picked Miami over Florida, which was what everybody had expected. It was pretty well known. Florida fans started to kind of cop pleas and things like that on social media and everything. They tried to kind of hedge their bets. Oh, well, he's a defensive end and he's not, whatever. Like, well, the Palmetto guys aren't even that good. When a couple months ago, the tenor of their conversation was completely different. Things like that. But I mean, regardless of what they say, it's a big get for Miami. I mean, he's number 2 in as a defensive tackle in the country in the 247 composite, in the 247 proprietary rankings, like that they do as their site, not the composite. He's the number 1 defensive tackle, number 2 player in the state of Florida behind James Williams, number 4 overall in the class. Like, it's such rarefied air to get a player like Leonard Taylor in a class ever, let alone just this year when you're stacking guys on top of guys, because James Williams is already committed in this class. You got a couple other guys from Palmetto and defensive tackle Savion Collins, who's like 6'4", 320. Brashard Smith just committed the week before as a slot receiver, dynamic offensive weapon athlete. So just the roll keeps going for Miami Hurricanes recruiting. And it's I mean, again, when this is a thing that I've talked about a lot, the closer to the ball that you get, the bigger of players that you have, but the more scarce those players are, especially here locally when, mostly we have speed guys, edge guys to the line, maybe a defensive end, some linebackers, and your skill guys on offense and defense. But to get a guy, who lines up as a 3 technique, right there in the interior of the line, you have a guy like that. It's just a big get. And, everybody wanted Leonard Taylor. And eventually he whittled down his list and everything and decided to stay home and play at Miami. And that's just really great. It's really a great job recruiting by everybody. Todd Stroud, the veteran defensive line coach, gets yeoman's work and credit for that one, and getting him to commit to Miami. So that's a big get, and that's great. Obviously for moving forward and just stacking this class and stacking talent on top of talent. And a lot of these elite guys from the local area deciding to stay local and play at Miami as opposed to going elsewhere. Now, there are some guys who are going to go elsewhere. Marcus Tate from U School, still going to go to Clemson. What's his name? Jacory Brooks from Booker T, still going to go to Alabama as a wide receiver. You're not going to get everybody, but this is what I'm talking about getting your share and getting the guys that you need. Because as good as Jacory Brooks as a wide receiver is, he's bigger, like physically. He's like 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". So he's a bigger physical guy than those other guys who went to Alabama, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, and Grandpa Ridley. He's a bigger physical guy than those guys. But you have some really great receivers in this class still. So it's not a one-to-one replacement, but you have the requisite kind of talent in the wide receiver commits, that being Romello Brinson, Brashard Smith, and Jacoby George. You have the requisite skill that it mitigates that loss, where it's almost a peer level replacement in those 3 guys. But if you were to lose, per se, like a Leonard Taylor, there's really no kind of analogous kind of player there, but you get that guy. So you're getting a lot from the top of the crew, of the crop, from the top of the list, which is what you want to get happening. On the flip side, Miami did process out Jacory Hemet, outside linebacker, edge rusher from Miami Northwestern. He then flipped to West Virginia. And, obviously West Virginia fans are talking stuff, obviously Florida fans, because, we beat them head to head many times in a row they're like, oh, Miami, lost a battle to West Virginia. I'm here to tell you that it was not a battle that was lost. We decided to go in a different direction. And let that be known to the young gentleman. And he found a good spot. Look, I worked at Miramar for 11 years. All the players that we sent to Morgantown from Miramar, Florida. I know people who've gone there. I know people who've played there. Like, it's a good spot. It's not a Middle Tennessee State. You know what I mean? It's not it's not a whichever one of the MAC schools is the worst, Bowling Green or whomever. It wasn't like he went there. He's still going to a Power 5 school and a team that actually, can compete for 8, 9, 10 wins. And I think that that's a really good spot for him. But what it did for Miami is it opened up a scholarship slot, maybe for a higher caliber recruit and everything. You still got 4 guys from Northwestern committed in this class as well. And it's not that there's no hatred. There's no animus. You just sometimes you have to make a choice. And this is what I keep talking about with, people were saying, for example, in the previous weeks of talking recruiting, people said, we need Keith Brown as a slot receiver kind of, option. I said, great. But we have Brashard Smith. And if we're going to take Keith Brown, who are you knocking off this list? And unfortunately, it seems in the case of Jacory Hemet, Miami made the choice that in the pursuit of whomever they're pursuing, he was the guy that they were going to separate their ways with. And it happens. But, like I said, wish no ill will to the man at all. I know that he's going to go up to Morgantown and hope that he has a great career, hits all of his academic and athletic goals and aspirations, and goes as far as the game of football will let him go. So if you expected me to come in here and trash the kid, that's just not something that I'm ever going to do. But I mean, the point of fact is, yes, Miami went in a different direction, and then Jacory Hemet also went in a different direction, and he found a home in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I wish him the best.
I think we need to consider from time to time as fans, and I will make reminders of this from time to time, that to play at that level, regardless of the school or university, even if they win 2 or 3 games a year, even if it's Rutgers, even if it's Kansas, if you look at the mass of volume of people out there playing high school football that can reach that level of play, to play Power 5, to play on TV every week, to play at that level, regardless of the success in the wins and loss column, it takes a tremendous athlete to be able to achieve that.
Yeah, I mean, it does. What's the stat? It's like 3% of high school football athletes get scholarships to play college football, or it might be less than 3%. And then it's like 1/3% of the college athletes, get drafted wherever they get drafted. I mean, it's rarefied air. And, again, this is a guy who could play at Miami if Miami wanted to go in that direction. Miami chose to go in a different direction. And he still found, a worthy requisite, a school for him, a landing place, and again, I wish him all the best, because I've seen West Virginia do great things for other people that I've known and met and had interactions with in my personal life, just because of, my prior professional situation. So, I get that.